Turn that stovetop eye on to low to medium, and you'll need a large skillet and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I have 4 boneless chicken thighs that I cut up into small pieces. Go ahead and drop them in the olive oil. I'm using Adobe All-Purpose Seasoning by Goya, and we're going to season with love. But if you're someone who likes measurements, then add a teaspoon. Now while that chicken's cooking, we are going to prepare our brown rice. So I've got 1.5 cups of brown rice. And the first thing we're going to do is wash this rice. Now, you always want to wash your rice. So what I do is run water over it, and I rinse it about 3 times. And any rice that is floating around, you want to go ahead and just pour that out too, because more than likely it's a husk off the brown rice. So anything floating, just pour it out. Because what happens is those little husks, they get really hard. And like I said, I'll do this about 3 or 4 times until my rice water is clear. If you're following along now, once that rice is clean, we're just going to go ahead and cover it with water. We are going to let this soak for about 20 to 30 minutes. Soaking brown rice will soften the husk. And I just kind of guess at this. We make brown rice quite often, so I kind of know how much water to add. But the ratio is 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. And if you're doing brown rice, then you want to add 1/2 cup to 1 cup of extra water. Now back over to the stovetop. Let's check on that chicken. And it looks like it's coming along nicely. I did have some moisture in my chicken because I like to wash mine first, and it had been frozen as well. I'm going to add some more Adobe seasoning to this, maybe 1/2 teaspoon if you want to measure. And we're just going to continue to cook this for probably about 20 minutes until we brown it. We want to get it just a little bit brown. Once this chicken is brown, just put the lid back on it, turn your stovetop eye off, and just set this aside. Now back to our rice. Typically I would leave the water on there and just cook it if I were making some recipe that you just use water. But for this one, I drained the water off, added a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. And because I have 1.5 cup of rice, I'm going to add 3 cups of chicken broth. And maybe another 1/2 cup. You could even use that whole carton there. I believe that's 4 cups. Now we are going to add some tomato bouillon with some chicken flavor. This is made by Knorr. Add 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, 1/3 of a yellow onion diced, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Let's give this a stir. You can do this on the stovetop or in a rice cooker, which is what I have. So all I did was turn this on, and about 20 minutes later it was done. But you do want to keep an eye on it, stir it occasionally, and you may have to add a little bit more chicken broth. But this turns out amazing every time, and this is as close as I have found to restaurant style rice. I'm sure it would be wonderful with white rice, but we like to use the brown rice because it's healthier. And also, I added this cheese I bought at Aldi's. It's already made up, this queso cheese. It's 16 ounces, and I just dumped the whole 16 ounces in there. And honestly, this next time I will probably only use 1/2 of the container and add a little milk, or maybe just use 1/2 of the container. It was really cheesy, but oh my, it was so good. It was as close as I have ever come to making the cheesy rice and chicken. But that cheese can be healthy. I just felt like I had too much cheese in this, but that's okay. Some people really like that cheese. And it was good. And then I just put my chicken in there. I went ahead and I mixed all of this together. My husband and I absolutely loved this dish. This is a keeper. And the Norse seasoning that I seasoned the chicken with gave this chicken such a great flavor. It tastes like the Mexican restaurant chicken and cheesy rice, maybe not as much sodium. So if you like Mexican food like we do and you like cheesy rice and chicken, you definitely want to try this recipe, but cut back on that cheese just a little bit. Or maybe even make your own.